Brother, listen carefully to this. Texting does not turn you into a perfect version of yourself. It does not magically make you more attractive, and it does not transform you into the man you have never been. Texting does only one thing: it amplifies the exact vibe you carry. If inside you're lacking, your message will smell of lack. If you are confident and complete, your message will reflect that completeness. It's that simple. Modern communication psychology calls this phenomenon affective resonance. People do not respond to individual words. They respond to the emotion behind those words. If you text with fear, with the mindset of, "I hope she likes me," with anxiety every time you see the typing dots, she feels all of it. But if you text with calmness, with the spirit of "I'm good even without you," with the fullness of a man who has direction, she feels that too. Don't think she's only reading the text. Women read vibe far better than men, and your vibe is not in the sentence "good night." It's in the energy behind it. Texting is simply a mirror. Whatever you put into it, it reflects back exactly. So don't try to act. Don't try to prove. Don't try to perform. What you need is not clever words. What you need is an inner state strong enough, calm enough, real enough that every message you send carries masculine weight. This is the first step to attracting a woman through texting without trying hard for even a second. Let me say this plainly so you can visualize it. Men don't lose points because of the words. Men lose points because of the emotion behind the words. A message may look normal, but the vibe can be filled with anxiety, and women sense that very quickly. Men fear 4 things: fear of losing her, fear of silence, fear of being misunderstood, and fear of not being interesting enough. These fears seem invisible, but they control your fingers with every letter you type. And when fear controls you, your messages become light, weak, lacking masculine weight. It's like walking up to a woman, but you can't stand firmly. You don't need to say anything, she still sees the shakiness. Texting works the same way. Women are far more sensitive to emotional energy than men. The more you try to be funny, the more she feels the effort. The more you try to be confident, the more she feels the chaos. The more you try to be interesting, the more she feels you're trying too hard. And that is when attraction turns into pressure, then into disappearance. A new concept in 2024 communication research calls this the conversational power balance. It states that the person who truly holds the frame in a conversation is not the one who speaks well, not the one who replies cleverly, and not the one who sends the most impressive lines. It is the one whose emotions are not controlled by the other person's responses. You text, but you don't wait anxiously. You don't check your phone every 2 minutes. You don't wonder, did I say something wrong, when you're not dependent on her reply? That is when you become the most attractive. Because at that moment, you operate from fullness, not from lack. Modern psychology calls this the stable masculine vibe, the state of a man who stands firm, unmoved by external factors. In this state, every message you send has weight, calmness, and a natural steadiness that makes women feel safe without you trying at all. Ironically, when you are not trying, that is when you are the most attractive. When you don't chase, she wants to move closer. When you don't panic about silence, she becomes more curious. And when you don't try to prove you're interesting, she feels the real interest coming from inside you. Here is the rule most men overlook. Needy energy makes you lose value. Trying too hard energy makes you lose vibe. But calm, full, effortless energy makes women naturally attracted. This is not a trick. This is psychology. And once you grasp it, your entire way of texting will change. No more rushing, there's no more fear, no more over-effort, only the presence of a man who knows his own value. And that is the most attractive thing of all. Texting like a true man is not a technique, not a collection of magic lines, and not a game of finding the perfect sentence. It is a mindset. It is how a man with direction approaches every conversation. First, a man of value does not beg for attention. He does not try to make her reply faster, does not create drama to keep interaction going, and does not try to be funny just to earn a laughing emoji. He texts because he wants to text, not because he's desperately waiting for someone to validate him. Second, he does not try to be funny. Being funny naturally is good, but trying to be funny just to be liked is a different story. Women feel that instantly, and they can tell right away when you are real and when you're performing. And performance in texting always ruins a man's aura. Third, he does not overshare. Strong men do not use texting as a place to dump emotions, complain, or seek comfort. His life is full, focused, with projects, direction, and goals. His messages reflect that simplicity, clarity, and calmness. No rambling, no long paragraphs, no interrogations, no 3-chapter novel replies. Fourth, he does not put her on a pedestal. He respects her, but he does not make her the center of the universe. When a man places a woman too high, he automatically lowers himself, and a man who lowers himself never creates long-term attraction. In modern psychology, this principle is called minimal signal attraction, meaning simple signals clear, short, but full of substance create the strongest pull, not because you are cold, but because a man of value does not need decoration. You say little, but you say it right. You don't need to tell too much. You don't need to reveal everything about yourself. A small amount of mystery makes her want to know more. Concise words make you feel more grounded, and the calm rhythm of your texting makes her see you as different. Here is what men often overlook. Texting more does not make you more interesting. Texting less but with substance makes her ask herself, who is this guy? Why is his vibe so steady? When a man speaks just enough, replies with boundaries, and acts natural not trying, not forcing women feel drawn to him in a way they can't explain, that is aura. And aura does not come from fancy lines. It comes from how you live, then radiates through each word you send. When you text less but with substance, she naturally wants to know more, and that is the beginning of real attraction. This is where many men fail right from the first step. Not because they lack good lines, but because their opening is so bland that it leaves no impression at all. Messages like hey, hi, what's up are soulless. They have no vibe, no flavor, no glimpse of who you are. It's like walking into a room, mumbling a hi, and then standing there hoping someone will rescue the conversation. It's not wrong, but it has no masculine weight. Your first message must do 3 things: recall a shared moment, create a slight emotional spark, and show that you are alert, natural, confident. These 3 combined form your flavor. When she reads it, she should feel something different, and that flavor is not exaggerated humor, not forced confidence, and definitely not cheap flirting. It is the vibe of a man who observes well, has his own personality, and knows exactly what he is saying. Recalling a shared moment known as a memory trigger prevents you from looking like a random stranger trying to force a conversation. It instantly creates closeness. Something as simple as yesterday when you tilted your head thinking, that was the look of someone who knows how to play life. Short, clear, visual, observant, and most importantly, it makes her smile. This is the emotional spark, the small spark that triggers a feeling. A small feeling is enough to set you apart from 90% of men who open with hey. And finally, the first message must show that you are alert, natural, confident. This is composed masculinity, relaxed strength. It does not try to flirt. It does not try to be funny. It does not try to prove anything. It simply shows that you are a man present in your real life, and now you're speaking to her from that same grounded energy. For example, a very calm line, I have to say. Your vibe yesterday was a little dangerous. I'm still analysing it. Playful yet masculine. Not too forward, not too flattering, not cheesy. It creates the feeling that you're talking to someone interesting, but so are you. This is a conversation between 2 equals, not one person begging for attention from the other. The most important thing in the first message is your presence. Are you being real? Are you calm? Are you natural women? Read vibe extremely fast. Text blandly and they know. Text with effort and they feel it immediately. Text authentically and they get pulled in without knowing why. The first message does not need to be perfect. It only needs to carry your true masculine essence. When you do that, you've already walked through the first door that most men stay outside forever. This is where 9 out of 10 men lose their attraction. Not because they aren't handsome, not because they aren't funny, and not because they lack communication skills, but because they lose their rhythm. Rhythm in a conversation is like rhythm in a piece of music. If you play too fast, everything feels rushed. If you play too slow, everything feels dull. But the biggest mistake is letting someone else control your rhythm. She sends 1 message. You reply with 5. She replies after 10 minutes. You spiral for the whole day. She sends an emoji. You reply as if writing a 3-page letter. All of these things send one single message: you're not steady. You're being pulled. You cannot hold your own rhythm. And when a man loses his rhythm, he loses his attractiveness. Because women are not attracted to the man who chases them. They are attracted to the man who stands firm in his own rhythm. In a new study called behavioral tempo matching, psychologists point out that what makes a person appear attractive is not the content of what they say, but the emotional tempo they maintain. A man who keeps his own rhythm, not pulled by her reply speed, her attitude, or her mood, is automatically seen as someone with a solid frame, with value, and with a real life. And women are drawn to that, not because he pretends to be cool, but because it shows I have a life that is happening. You are a part of it, not the center. When you don't reply too quickly, you send the signal that you're not glued to your screen. You are working, you are living, you are busy with your own goals. When you don't ramble, don't write novels, don't pour your heart out in short messages, you show emotional control, a masculine aura that makes women feel safe. When you don't chase her energy, she goes cold. You don't try to heat it. She replies slow. You don't rush. She tests you. You don't wobble. She begins to feel curious. Why is this guy so steady? And curiosity is the first step of attraction. This is not a psychological trick. This is how a mature man operates. You text when you're free. You reply when you're calm. You show up when you want to, not when you fear losing someone. And that sense of agency makes her feel like she's being invited into a world, not pulled into a void of neediness. Women are drawn to men who have a clear rhythm of life, goals, schedules, priorities. If you respond as if your entire life exists only to wait for her, you fall into the too needy category, and that is not the category women respect. The interesting thing is, when you keep your own rhythm, she feels more comfortable. Women do not want pressure. They do not want to feel forced to reply quickly, so you won't get anxious. They do not want to be responsible for your emotions. They want a man who stands firm so they can relax. And when you do that, she will automatically move closer, automatically become more proactive, automatically invest more, because simply, you make her feel something other men cannot. Your rhythm, your steady rhythm, your masculine rhythm, the rhythm of a man who knows who he is. And that rhythm is what creates real attraction. Let me tell you something, that most men spend their entire lives texting without ever realizing women do not text for information. They don't text to ask about your schedule, what you ate, or where you are. They text for vibe. Vibe is what keeps them going. Vibe is what makes them reopen the conversation. And vibe is what determines whether you end up in the interesting guy category or the keep him on the side category. To create attraction through texting, you don't need deep philosophy. You just need to activate the light emotional groups that women react very strongly to: a bit of curiosity, a bit of amusement, a bit of challenge, a bit of playful mischief, and a bit of subtle unpredictability. All of these emotions give your messages flavor. She reads it and feels, okay, this guy can talk. That feeling matters more than any flirty line. And this is exactly why modern psychology introduced the concept of micro-emotional hooks, or MEH. These are short, simple lines that touch the emotional center of the listener. They are not flirting, not cheap teasing, not pressure. They simply nudge her emotions just enough for her to react instinctively. A good mate has 3 elements: a bit of observation, a bit of implication, and a bit of refined mischief. For example, you seem like the type who looks gentle but dangerous at the right moment. This isn't flirting, but it sparks curiosity. She will wonder, dangerous how? Or I get the feeling you create tiny bits of drama just for fun. Right. This is a soft touch on her personality. Not insulting, not bland, just enough to trigger a reaction. Or you've got a vibe that's not easy to read, pretty interesting. This makes her feel seen, understood correctly, yet still wanting to reveal more. And when a woman wants to reveal more, that is when she invests in the conversation. The most important thing when using MEH is not forcing it, not pretending to be mysterious, not speaking with arrogance, just talking as if you are observing comfortably. A confident man does not use words to prove himself. He uses vibe. Me only works when you're not attached, meaning you don't use it as bait. You don't expect an immediate reply. You don't send it and then wait anxiously. You drop the line and let it do its job. Because what draws women in is not the sentence itself. It is the attitude behind it, calm, natural, lightly mischievous, and completely non-needy. And that attitude is what creates real attraction. You don't need to make her laugh every moment. You just need to make her feel something small. Enough for her to remember you, enough for her to come back, enough for her to be curious. Attractive men don't text to conquer. They text to create a light connection, then stand firm there. And trust me, when you stop trying to hold on to someone, that's when they want to hold on to you. That is the flavor of a man's message. A flavor that's hard to describe but easy to get addicted to. At this point, you need to understand one thing. The goal of texting is not to become her online best friend. Once you have the vibe, once you have the connection, the next step is meeting in person. A man with intention does not keep things vague for too long. You don't lead each other around in the chat box forever. At the right moment, at the right rhythm, you make a clear, confident invitation, no begging, no hesitation. Something simple like, "You're interesting. Let's grab a drink and see if your real-life vibe matches your texting vibe." Short, real, masculine. She understands the intention. You know what you're doing. No pressure, no trying too hard, no awkwardness. And if she isn't enthusiastic, doesn't respond, doesn't want to meet bro, you step back. You don't blame her. Don't ask what's wrong. Don't try to win her attention again, because a man of value does not chase anyone. You step back not because you lost, but because you have a clearer direction than standing still for someone who doesn't want to move toward you. Here's a philosophy: not everyone is mature enough to grasp a man with direction doesn't need to hold on to anyone. You walk, and those who align will naturally fall into your rhythm. Those who don't, you thank them for passing through your life for a moment, then continue on calmly. A man's true attractiveness lies here, knowing when to stop, when to move, and when to leave when things no longer match your rhythm. No clinging, no chasing, no fear of loss. The freedom inside you is what pulls women in the most. And once you understand this, the way you text and the way you love will change forever.